My religious father had me banned from multiple weddings because I'm queer.
And now you have to ban him from your life.
For context, I, 29, am a man, and my family is very Catholic. My siblings are very supportive of me. I'm the oldest, as is my mom's side of the family, my last remaining grandma, and a few cousins on my dad's side. By the way, this comes from Disastrous Tree 2921, and if you want to submit your own stories, then go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So the entire family is Catholic, except for a handful on my mom's side, but my dad's side is like extra Catholic, including a few adult and those who know. My sister, will call her Caitlin, 26, and her now husband, will call him Garrett, also 26, got engaged before I came out to my parents. I was super happy for her, as they were childhood sweethearts who had dated in middle school, saw other people in high school and college, and then found each other again a couple of years ago. Garrett is also my brother's best friend. Caitlin and I had discussed our issues with our parents a couple of years ago, especially regarding our dad's behavior. He is very controlling, despite us all being in our 20s. She was worried he would use the wedding to control her since he is going to pay for it, as was tradition. He even started grilling her about her and Garrett's sleeping arrangements when they went to Disney, which caused a huge fight. I reassured her that even if he decided not to pay for the wedding, Garrett's dad would happily cover the cost because he adored her, and that my siblings and I were always happy to pitch in. I also offered to walk her down the aisle if dad refused. Caitlin invited me to go dress shopping. Usually it's not tradition to have brothers present for this, but because I still wasn't out and my mom wanted me to come, and despite dresses not being my thing, I have known to have good taste. I obliged. We managed to pick out her dream dress that day. I was super happy to have been included, and in hindsight, I'm especially glad I went because this was the last wedding-related thing I got to do. Oh no.
Also, the fact that this isn't even like the dad's wedding at all, and he's still excluding OP.
I knew I wasn't going to be a bridesmaid, despite my parents thinking I would be, but my sister was torn about putting me in as a groomsman because of the drama with our parents. I'm not too interested in wedding things, so I told her that if she just wanted me there and not participating like my siblings, that was fine. Fast forward to the year of the wedding, and I reached a crossroads with my parents. I had been on HRT for a year without their knowledge, and by that point, the changes were very noticeable. I didn't want the news to come out in an uncontrolled way, so I sat down with my parents and laid everything out. Keep in mind, I had been outed almost 7 years prior, spent a miserable year dealing with them as they were verbally abusive, and then suddenly everyone just pretended like nothing was wrong. So this talk wasn't, hey, by the way, but rather, hey, a reminder that and that now I am almost 30, I have actually started and there's nothing you can do about it. It went about as well as I expected. I left their house and cut off all contact, telling them that when dad stops calling me slurs and when they start behaving like adults, maybe we can talk things out. They were not happy, and to this day, still have not left me alone as I asked. And this happened in January. I had a cousin's wedding in September, and my sister's wedding was in November. I had given my siblings a heads up that this was happening and told my sister that I was sorry if this affected her negatively in any way. But I wanted to get it out of the way now to prevent any drama around her big day. We discussed plans for the wedding to keep things low-key and avoid confrontations. Caitlin originally suggested moving forward as planned, keeping me as a guest but having me participate in family of the bride activities on the wedding day. She wanted me to try and make amends if possible, but understood if tensions would be high. A month before my cousin's wedding, I found out that my dad and my aunt, the most Catholic, threw a huge fit with my cousin about inviting me, and my invitation was rescinded. Dang. It's like not even the dad's wedding and the aunt's wedding.
Also, just like, yeah, the fact that it seems like the sister, I guess, complied a little bit.
Yeah, I would have had to travel out of state when I couldn't really afford to, and I'd need to take time off of work. So I took it in stride as yet another cousin's wedding I couldn't attend due to my situation. This one just stung a bit because my cousin was one of the supportive ones, but I understood not wanting extra drama.
No, I don't understand that. I'm sorry. If you're one of the supportive ones, it's not about the drama. It's about being supportive in all areas. Yeah. Not when it's just easy for you.
Right. You would want them to kind of like stand up for you a little bit.
You're not an ally if you're just like, yeah, I support you. And then when anyone's like, hey, do you support this person? And you're like, no, sorry.
Then my sister told me that my dad threw another fit and demanded that I not be at her wedding at all.
Yeah, so this is where the sister comes in.
So 2 weddings now that he's like, don't bring him over.
We know that the dad is an a-hole. The people that are uninviting OP to their weddings are also a-holes. Like, you guys are cowards.
He told her he didn't want me there because he didn't want me to be the reason that I ruined his and mom's day. Their day? I don't know about that. I told my sister it was her decision. It was her and Garrett's day, not our parents. But I would respect whatever she wanted to do. You are too nice.
To go from being considered for, like, groomsmen and then maybe not even get invited at all is ridiculous.
My grandma and my mom's side of the family were furious with my dad for uninviting me, but no one wanted to fight for me to be there. Ultimately, my sister chose not to have me there because she didn't want to piss off our dad and was worried about his financial control again. I told her I understood and didn't want to be the reason for fighting or negativity on her big day.
Why can't we uninvite the dad? I mean, it seems that maybe he's paying for some of it, but like, if this were my brother, I'd be like, if someone was saying, oh, don't invite your brother, and they were providing money, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm having a cheaper wedding, I guess, because my brother's coming to this wedding.
Right. I totally agree. I sent her well wishes and asked my siblings for photos. I have another cousin getting married this year, this time on my mom's side. As far as I know, I'm still expected to attend, and I hope my parents don't have any say over this one. But if I miss out on yet another family wedding because of them, it will sting. I wish things had gone differently, but it is the way it is. And you know what is the way it is the fact that we have more episodes with full stories just like these ones. Go to OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and we'll be there. And it'll really sting if you don't go there, so please.
You're a coward if you don't.
There is like a little bit more, but that is hard. Because like to play devil's advocate a little bit, I'm assuming that OP's like verbal abuse that he's gotten from his parents is like, you know, about him being but I do wonder if that comes up in any other situations and possibly with other like siblings. You know what I mean? Because that is hard where it's like you should stand up and they should, you know. But I do also wonder like how those conversations went and if there was like manipulation or anything going on. It's possible that there wasn't.
I'm sure that it was. Like, I still believe that. It is incredibly hard to stand up for yourself and to stand up against family members, especially parents, in this situation when it's not directly impacting you, especially. But I still think it needs to be done. There's always going to be really like big moments in our lives, historically and personally, where you're going to have to stand up for people who are marginalized, whether that be in your family or in the greater culture. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it isn't worth doing.
But there is a little bit more. And while I know I can be a people pleaser, which I'm working on, I just wish my family would fight for me a little more so I wouldn't always have to take the blow to avoid more drama. Anyway, I just wanted to get this off my chest, and this felt like a good place to do it. Thanks for listening. So we have a small addition here. Looks like there's still more, so I'm guessing there's an update coming. Small addition. Garrett was born in Italy before they immigrated here. I think the cousin's husband. I believe one of the husbands. His dad made a home-cooked meal for their first date as adults, asked her what she looked for in a husband that same night, and built her 2 pieces of furniture within a month of them dating again. He smoked cigars, like cigs, and even brought some for me last time I saw him so that we could smoke together. I think I have his approval. That's nice. There are some comments, okay? Comments say, it's always tough when the people who claim to support us end up not showing up when push comes to shove and continue to let us become the old 1-2 bag. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. I wish you much luck on your journey, and I hope that you get to go to this wedding. OP responded, I appreciate it. I'm still no contact with my parents after 2 years now. Had everything changed, gotten top surgery, the whole shebang. The siblings are still as supportive as they were before, but we're all just trying to keep the peace and balance things the best we can. Nothing I didn't expect, TBH. Another comment says, see, if your sister just invited you and disowned your dad, she wouldn't have to worry about how he'll withhold money anymore. She chooses to let him control her with the money, but she's an adult with a husband now. She can ideally rely on herself, or less ideally, her husband now. She doesn't need daddy's money anymore. OP responded, I don't disagree. It sucks that she would prioritize that over me being there, but I didn't feel comfortable demanding that she give up her chance for the wedding she wanted because my parents are bigots. But the money wasn't strictly the priority. It was more the family relationships that was the pressure.
Like, what about your relationship though? Is that not important? I would much rather have a family relationship with someone I love than someone I love who's a bigot.
That's the difficulty in this, where it's like you want to like avoid family drama and stuff, which I get, but it's also like, is this not family drama though?
I just don't understand how not seeing OP and uninviting OP to your wedding is less drama. Like, aren't people gonna ask, didn't this already create drama? I think they understand that OP is not gonna put up a fight and he's gonna just take it.
So they're just like, well, I'd rather just have that over like my dad getting mad, you know?
I would say my thought is that if you want to continue having a relationship with your siblings, specifically your sister, you could probably bring up and say, hey, I mean, you could have done this before the wedding, but, you know, post it. You could say like, hey, I understood why, but I wanted to say that I was extremely hurt that you made that decision. You didn't think about my feelings or like took this as a chance to show your support. I think you could have that conversation without necessarily demanding things from her.
There is like a tiny bit more, so I'll just get through this last little bit. While we feel some type of way about our parents, it's still very hard to just cut them off, and I was the only one comfortable doing that. And even then, I'm only comfortable with it because I had planned this for literally a decade and had mentally steeled myself for the final talk. I don't fault my siblings for not doing the same. Crap's complicated. And that is it. Yeah, that's the end of that story. I don't think that the sister and the cousin would need to like go no contact.
I think it's just like figuring out a way to become financially independent from people who are making you cut off your siblings.
But that is the end of that story.